Hello and welcome to Central Georgia Focus, the Ask Mayor Miller edition. I'm your host today, Liz Fabian from the Center for Collaborative Journalism. Each month, Macon-Bibb County Mayor Lester Miller sits down with us and answers questions from the public. So thanks again, Mr. Mayor, for joining us. You know, this week, Macon-Bibb County entered a new phase in the blight flight as commissioners approved the pursuit of condemnation for some of those properties under eminent domain. So can you explain how that works?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's state statute allows us to do that, and it's just another tool in the tool belt, like we like to say. Basically, we'll get information out. We've got a list of homes that we've tried to reach out. Land Bank has tried to reach out to the owners of those homes. Most of those are people who live outside the jurisdiction. Some of those are LLC names. None of them have people living in them. That's the most important thing. The other thing is there's plenty of due process. We put a notice out there, send it to the last known address, and we have to have a hearing. We had a hearing the other day, and about 3 people showed up out of the 17 to try to work something out on those properties. The other thing is we'll have to file a petition in Superior Court where, once again, you'll have notice provision there. You'll have personal service or publication service. And the Bibb County has already done an appraisal on each of those properties, which we're required to do to determine what the fair market value of the properties are. We will deposit that money into the courts, and then at some point in time, when the court rules on that motion, any of those homes will be purchased for that amount from the prospective owners of those properties. The other thing it does is clear title. A lot of times there's very unclear title, so it takes care of all the title issues. More importantly, it gets some housing stock or land back out there for affordable housing in areas that need it in Macon-Bibb County.
So it wasn't too late for some of those people to step up and say, hey, I've got the money now to fix up this house. Don't take it from me, right?
No, several people showed up. It's still not too late, even after they served the petition. All we want to do is get the properties back in safe condition and also have people that are living there. You know, some of these properties have been there for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years and not worth very much money, but at the same time, our old nuisance per se that we're still doing as well, we would take those properties down, those houses down, and leave a vacant lot there, and we didn't have any ownership rights to it. We couldn't do anything with the property, and sometimes they become, just as bad with overgrowth and things like that. So this is a new process we're starting. It's, we're going to keep doing all the other things we're doing, but like I said, it's just another tool in the tool belt.
And these were all houses that were on the blight list, and eventually, if the county does take ownership of them, they might be available for people to purchase from the Land Bank Authority, correct?
That's correct. They will go to the Land Bank, and someone could come there with a proposal to basically end user on what they want to do with those properties, and certainly we hope to get more housing stock out there, more affordable for those communities, and do some infill housing.
Well, I've noticed just on my commute to work from Holt onto Napier, the house at the corner that's been blighted, it's been demolished. There's one that was on the list from the other night, but I didn't recognize it because it had a fresh coat of yellow paint on it, and I wasn't sure if the yellow paint was going to be enough to save it. But on the next house, it was all being gutted and being repaired. There were work crews there. So I think this is lighting a fire on some of these absentee landlords.
I think people are starting to get the message. They know that we'll take it down if it's dangerous. They know that the property values for the people in the area are problematic for them, and they also realize that we're serious about this, and they started to do some work even without, the carrot and the stick that we've been kind of using.
And what is the Macon-Bibb Affordable Housing Committee? Are they targeting certain neighborhoods like Napier Heights or off of Houston Avenue right now?
That is some of the focus areas. We look at the census tracts, qualified census tracts, and a lot of those areas are in there. It's going to be parts of East Macon, Bloomfield, Houston Avenue, and of course the Napier Heights area there, where there's going to be substantial housing in the very near future.
Well, Sue Birch says that she's seen a lot of demolition and reconstruction. She's happy about that. But she says she's worried about some unenforced laws on the books, particularly jaywalking for pedestrians who step into traffic. And of course, that's a law enforcement matter. I know what you're going to say, but I couldn't even find jaywalking in the municipal code. So can we expect enforcement of those kind of laws?
Well, I think if they're on the books, they should be enforced. Otherwise, they shouldn't be on the books. And it's like everything else, in the whole spectrum of things. When you're looking at anything from a house burglary to a drug case to a jaywalking, you have to have priorities. And right now, the priority is going to be on the more serious matters. Even though we do have code enforcement doing a lot of things, in particular, and certainly they're around downtown, where sometimes jaywalking occurs. A lot of times, people walk across the street on Pine Avenue and Broadway and places like that are state roads, and unfortunate accidents happen, and sometimes they lose their lives. So it's certainly something that's important. I don't know that the priority is there to make that a primary, consideration with enforcement there, but certainly that's the sheriff's responsibility if there is something on there. and I think she can address that with him.
The last Pedestrian Safety Review Board meeting, Brad Belo came as a member of the public just to encourage them to do more road safety audits. Because when he was a member with Planning and Zoning and MPO, they were out there, and that's how we got some things on Gray Highway and Mercer University Drive. Do you know, are there any plans to do more road safety audits through the committee?
Oh, I'm sure that there are going to be many road audits that are done. Getting the normal, different people in there involved in doing that. Several organizations have already performed those, and they come back and report that. And a lot of times the people are our best, boots on the ground, the best people to listen to. So we get a lot of things from the neighborhood. And as you know, we're having this sidewalk study coming up soon. That sidewalk study is going to look at all the sidewalks to see where we can do a better job at as far as repairing, cleaning, or installing new. I think that's all going to be part of the process.
You've been looking at my paper again, because that was coming up. But before that, I was going to say that I noticed an overgrown sidewalk on Gray Highway, kind of close to 2nd Street. It was overgrown and a lot of trash there. Is See-Click Fix the only way to do that? Or do you have work crews that go out and kind of survey and say, oh, hey, you need to get over there and weed eat or whatever?
Well, since that's a state highway, you need to talk to the Department of Transportation for that. However,
highway,
sometimes people do a See-Click Fix and they'll get closed out by the county and they'll get upset because the work hasn't been done, but really they're notifying the improper, not the proper people to do that. We forward that information along as best we can, and of course we try to work with all of our partners. But a lot of times we do that as well. We see those things and we notify the proper people in hopes of getting something done.
And you also mentioned getting calls and hearing from constituents about, when are you going to pave my road? When are you going to pave my road? But then, as soon as you start paving the road, I'm stuck behind paving trucks. And that happened to me the other day, and I couldn't get into my neighborhood. Is there a way to let people know when it's happening? Or because you're trying to do it the most efficient way, if somebody gets finished early, then they have to go somewhere else? But usually there's sheriff's offices, deputies, or somebody out there helping with traffic. So is there any way to know ahead of time?
We don't get notified ourselves. They have 150 days to do the paving. Some of the large roads, we get a couple of days notice, and of course we'll post that on our social media. It'll go out in the hub if we know in advance. I can think of right now Napier is going on. You mentioned earlier about seeing houses over the Napier area. The entire Napier from Central High School all the way to Forsyth is getting done, moving very quickly there. And of course we'll be finishing up the rest of Bass Road here soon. We'll move the times of that. We try to work around schedules as much as possible, but we give these contractors a time limit. They have to look at their own mapping to decide where they need to do and how they need it, what order they need to do it in to get it done within that period of time. So as much notice as we can give people, we try to, but we warned you long ago, we're going to be paving roads, 20 years of roads in just 1 year. You're going to have to expect to be behind some asphalt trucks at some time, but hey, it's just a day of inconvenience for a lifetime of good quality roads.
Well, that sounds good. You mentioned in Napier, yep, I detoured past the paving on the way to work. And then when I was going to take pictures for some of those houses on Napier that afternoon, it was already done. So it does move quickly. Superch also wanted to know, well, before that, Demetrius Ross wanted to know if Elf Street was going to be paved properly instead of just patching. It may have already been paved since she asked, but...
Well, what I would tell her to do is reach out to her commissioner. The commissioner can look up the information and see if it's on the list. All the roads have been graded in Macon. We start with the roads that are the more severe in certain highly traveled areas. I presume that road is going to be on there. Patching is what's been done in the past. If you've got one pothole, two potholes, but they score very high, I imagine that road's probably on the list, but you can certainly do that. Also, look at our Bibb County procurement page. You can see when those things go out to bid yourself, and that's open for everybody.
Superch also questioned when the lights will be restored on the interstates through Macon. I know that's probably another GDOT question, but she says, like, particularly from Hartley Bridge past Zebulon and through I-16, I-75, it can be very, very dark at night.
I agree. I travel those roads as often as probably most people do. And, that's entirely up to the state. Once they give us the go on that. So once they're finished with the project, once they get those things lit, we pay the bill. So that's one thing we do. So it's not for not paying the bills, it's for some probably some technical things that are going on now. I'll be glad when the entire projects get finished and we have lights on everything. It's a lot safer for everybody, and they can see the beauty of the project as well.
Well, we've come another milestone. There was a new traffic pattern coming from I-75 North to Spring Street the other day, which means I think I've finally figured out where the pedestrian bridge is going to be, because where we have been exiting on Spring Street there, that's now abandoned. So what's going to happen with that? Is GDOT going to make that a pedestrian bridge, or is there going to have to be local or state funds come in and turn it into part of the Ocmulgee Heritage Trail?
Well, there's two bridges. There's one over the railroad and one over the Ocmulgee. So GDOT will be demolishing one of those bridges and keeping the other one up for pedestrian. And we'll be applying for a grant to get across the railroad. So that has to be an expanded pedestrian bridge, for lack of a better term, that doesn't have any pylons or anything on railroad right away. So we're applying for that grant right now as we speak. We are very encouraged that we can get that grant to make that happen, and it'll all tie in nicely with the end of the interstate work finally.
And speaking of the Ocmulgee Heritage Trail, on the north end, north of Amerson, y'all recently, in the last several months, bought up additional property, and there was a house there that you were going to take a look at. Have you thought about how the county might be able to use that house?
Well, I've thought about a lot of things, so we haven't come to any conclusions yet. We always, look for intended purposes when we get those projects. It's a very beautiful home. The tenants are still living there and paying rent right now.
Okay.
So we're getting income there while we do the work on the front end of that. Once that's taken care of, we'll put all of our heads together, get some community feedback. I've got a couple of thoughts on how we can use that ourselves for saving money, but also for people coming to town. We expect to have an equestrian part of that as well in front of that for horses.
Wow.
Possibly a horse trail, biking trail, and a walking trail all in the same place. So lots of things are going to be happening there, but we've got other projects in front of it, so we're kind of getting to those first because we've got some huge projects that are coming that require a lot more of our time than the trails, but we'll be moving to that very shortly.
Now, the County Commission also authorized TVS Designs to go ahead and proceed with more drawings for the convention center and hotel, and the documents estimate that that's a $165.5 million project to develop that whole block. So what are your thoughts about paying for that?
Well, we don't ever put anything on paper if we don't think we can pay for it, so that's just one part of the puzzle. Right now we need to have some plans in place. Nothing starts without planning, and we got to have the architectural drawings. Those numbers go up and down. That also includes a hotel and a convention center there. We got some developers, as you know, that we've been talking to that will play a large part in that. So we're going to make sure it's right size, make sure we can afford that. We've got studies going on right now to answer those types of questions, but it's never going to happen if we don't get started. So our plans were to do that, and I'm glad that the commission unanimously approved that. TVS done the wonderful design at the amphitheater. They've done a lot of great things in Atlanta and elsewhere, and we're excited to get that project off the ground. It will work nicely with what Mercer has going on across the street in partnership with us and others there with the new medical school, and we want to kind of be on the same timeline for all that to happen. So we're excited about it. I wish we had done it 6 months ago, but as luck would have it, we just did it this last week. So either way, it's going to move forward.
Well, P&Z just rezoned those 11 acres on the other side of Riverside Drive for the School of Medicine, lofts, parking deck, and another office building. And then there's that whole area where the dog park kind of is now. Is there anything to share about plans, or that's down farther on your totem pole of things to do?
Well, I think you'll probably see a hotel there. It's going to be a hotel, a mixed-use development there with residential, medical offices, a school, some lofts, and possibly a store or some other retail restaurant right there. So lots of things planned for that site. A lot of money be spent by folks outside, which is great. But it'll work nicely with our project across the street, and we'll also do a lot of the road diet there as well to make sure we got traffic calming, make sure the landscape is beautiful there, and make sure we take advantage of the river we got there.
Anything more to add? Is there anything further being discussed about across 75 there, where the Veterans Administration is possibly looking at building a medical center?
Well, there's an RFP out there now, so we'll wait to see what happens there. We gave the exclusive right to one particular company that has partnered with us. Hopefully that's going to be resolved in the next 6 months, and then we'll know something a little bit closer. Certainly, I think it meets all the qualifications necessary, and we're excited about the potential jobs it could bring. If something happens with that project doesn't happen, we've got items B, C, and D right behind it that I think will be equally as well, but this is our preference.
Anything going also with the Marriott City Center Hotel? I know that the UDA had an option.
UDA will be purchasing the hotel, I'm pretty sure. There's some contracting stuff that are going on now. We took a visit recently to a place in South Florida that would give us an idea of what type of place the Marriott could be. And certainly it works nicely with the fact that we're doing our arena project there. We've got the Coliseum eventually that will come down, and it's connected to that convention center, so that may come down at the same time. But I think we as in UDA would probably temporarily have that Marriott and at some point in time transfer that to someone else.
So there's really serious discussions going on about taking down the Wilson Convention Center
after the convention center is built. That's correct.
Okay, so that's another replacement kind of
Right.
thing. Now, there was a brief mention in your State of the Community address about, of course, we've got to get the Ocmulgee Mountains National Park, and then you kind of went on to other things. But is there still plans to have that alternate entrance if it does become a national park there at the end of Clinton Street? I was hearing some rumblings recently that maybe that won't ever happen. I mean, not the park, but that entrance.
Well, the park's definitely going to happen. I think the people like to have an alternate entrance there. That's going to be for someone else to decide. It's nice to have that option, and I'll let the higher ups decide that. It's going to cost some money to get a bridge over the railroad track there, so that's one consideration. Having a bicentennial park there, having our relationship with the Muskogee Creek Nation right there at the house that we have there, the new development come there, may lead way to an additional entrance there. Hey, whatever's best for the community, I'm in favor of. If it turns out to be on the other side, that's fine too. But we'll do whatever we need to do. I think that's the least of our worries of which the interest is going to be, as opposed to let's get this national park named and hopefully the people in Washington do their job soon.
And now, so that would be like a national park decision as to where the entrance would be?
That's correct.
Okay. And are there any other points from your State of the Community address at the Taste of Macon at the City Auditorium that the Chamber threw? Anything you'd like to share from that as well?
Well, I think we got a lot of things going on. We touched on many things we've really done on the day-to-day lives of people this last year instead of big projects. We do have, Choose Macon coming up, and I think Jessica Walden's very proud of that. I think we're going to see a lot of new people, a lot of new faces coming to Macon, and certainly that's going to be beneficial to us. And we look forward to doing that, and we look forward to many, many new things happening in the upcoming year.
One of our colleagues took advantage of that Choose Macon program, so it's working. And now at the Downtown Business Improvement District meeting, Newtown's Aaron Keller mentioned that the Knight Foundation is funding a trip for folks, including EMA Director Spencer Hawkins, to go to Miami and Detroit to see what those cities are doing in the area of the unhoused. So is Spencer kind of like like the county person who's over all of that?
Well, he's assumed that role just naturally because of his job there at EMA, Emergency Management Agency, and I think he's got a passion and a heart for it. He's been on our Brookdale board. He'll be on another board that we have coming up soon that'll kind of work hand in hand with our homeless coordinator and Newtown, and kind of coordinate all of our different places and some housing that we have coming up soon. So I think he's a great person for the job, got the heart for the job, and certainly he has a skill set for the job. So I think it's going to be a great trip for them to go down there, learn some best practices, bring them to Macon, and let's put our flair on there.
And I think you've talked a little bit, even alluded to it in the commission meeting a couple times ago, about maybe putting additional housing on the land around Brookdale. Is that kind of what you're thinking, tiny homes or something?
Well, we purchased a couple of houses already in the Payne City area that could be used for home ownership, but also for transitional for folks at Brookdale. We have some plans that we've drawn out for put some cottages, the cottages at Brookdale, on the property itself, as much as 20 to 30 there as well. So to do that takes money, and it also takes some grants, and we're working with our partners at DCA to kind of apply for some funding. The governor put some money in his budget this year that we expected to go over pretty well, and we've applied for that. So that's one of the reasons we had to extend the contract for Jake Hall to do those types of things, because he's the one that wrote the grant to give the couple $1 million that we got there at Brookdale for our Hello House, and it's important to have somebody like that as part of it, at least to make sure we get a good start going towards those grants. So I wanted to make sure we didn't trip over pennies for a few $1,000s or even $100,000 while we're trying to get several $1 million to put people into permanent housing.
Have you had a chance to meet the BID's new unhoused outreach specialist, Shakita Howard?
Not a chance to meet her yet. I certainly send her her qualifications, and I know the work she's doing behind the scenes. So we'll have some time for she and I to get together soon, but right now she's got her schedule pretty busy. She's a busy woman because there's a lot of things that need to be doing on that, but I know that she's working well with our partners already.
We are now full-fledged in election season, Mr. Mayor, and you were recently asking folks on Facebook who they were supporting in statewide races. Are you ready to endorse anyone?
No, I don't plan on endorsing anybody in statewide races right now. Certainly that's the people's choice themselves. Sometimes local candidates we do endorse if we think there's a great candidate out there that's going to make Macon-Bibb County a better place to live, or if we got a problem with a candidate on the other side that may put us in the wrong direction. There's many, many candidates. I'm keeping my powder dry on the state races myself because I think there's going to be a lot of runoffs. Certainly, things are, I can't turn the television on and watch the Braves game without seeing 20 commercials on there. And unfortunately, they're going to be here for a while because we're going to have some runoffs. I don't see anybody, I don't care how much money you got. Rick Jackson fits $50 million. Probably still going to be a runoff. Keisha Bottoms on the other side is leading that side of the governor's race. She could squeak by, but I think there's going to be a runoff there too. So unfortunately, we're going to be in it for a couple more months, and I know the news agencies love that. Lots of advertising going on, but you know, politics is very fickle, as we all may know that, and I know lots of people in those races. So right now, I'm just kind of listening and watching what's going on. And at some point in time, I may give my 2 cents worth.
Well, Georgia is an open primary state, so what are your thoughts on strategic primary voting, where one party will cross party lines to vote in the primary to pick a candidate that they think is better for the general election to beat?
Well, I put that in my post as well, because I've heard a lot of people who came up to me and said they were going to do that, which kind of surprises me. I've told most people this time, particularly in the local races, that I wouldn't expect very much crossover. You know, if you got so many Republicans and so many Democrats, I think they're going to stay in their lanes for the most part, because there will be runoffs that they're going to want to participate in. It's one thing if you know that one party's got it over the other party, you can go in there and kind of, you know, help choose the wrong party. But I think the problem is here is there's just you want to make sure that you can still vote in that runoff. And if you switch over the other side and a runoff happens in your particular party, then you're not going to be able to make that decision. So I think it's going to be few and far between people that's doing that strategically. There's going to be people who do it, but it's not going to be enough really to make a difference in a state race, in my opinion.
I noticed during the runoff for District 5 in the County Commission, there are actually golf carts at Macon Mall to shuttle handicapped or elderly people from the parking lot to the Board of Elections. Is that going to be a regular practice? I know that was the only early voting site that was available.
Well, first of all, you're welcome. You can thank Mike Kaplan and myself for that. I know others have reached out to me there as well. I had some conversations with Tom Ellington and, of course, Tom Gillian. But Mike called me and said, hey, we really need to have these things. And we made it happen within a day and got those things out there. Some people got transported. We're really working hard right now. We've got some work going on in the building right now at the very end of the mall there next to the library, trying to get ready. I don't think it's going to be ready by the time we vote in May, but we're trying our best to do that maybe by the runoff, certainly in November. So seniors will have a place to go right at the curbside, right there in that building that's right there. We've already began the work on that. So we'll have the carts there, renting those out until such time as we have that other part open. And I think it'll be a close place for everybody. But you don't have to go vote early there. There's other locations that you will have during this next election. I think at Theron Nursery and Elaine Lucas Center as well. And, of course, you can do your absentee ballot or you can go to your own precinct today. But I think we'll have many choices for people that want to vote. Summer
season is upon us. Is there anything you can share about upcoming events at the amphitheater?
Well, I think we got a lot of sold-out shows coming. I think
really?
Alabama's going to be one this next couple of weeks. You got Treaty Oaks Revival coming up, and you've got a couple more coming up in the fall with Ty Myers and Gavin Adcott. Babyface is going to be here soon, so people are asking questions about that. Just lots of going on. We started a little bit late this year. They're kind of getting a late jump start, but we'll probably have at least 4 sellouts this year, which doubles what we had last year and triples what we had the previous year. So things are going in the right direction at the amphitheater, and certainly we can't wait to get an arena on board in a couple of years as well. So I see great things continue to happen in Macon-Bibb County.
Pulling Meatloaf out of the hat again? You know, I was surprised that the CeCe Winans concert started right at 7. She was right there and sang her heart out, and then it was over. That there is a trend toward shorter concerts. Are you hearing things?
I think we're like children now. You can't have a very short attention span, but it was a great concert, sold out in 24 hours, and she got in there, got out, and everybody got blessed because of it. It was a great show for me as well. Anything particular you are looking forward to for this summer? Lots of things. I mean, I'm ready to get people out at the beach out there. We just hired a bunch of lifeguards at Toby Sofke. Lots of shows coming out there. Continue to meet new visitors each and every day in Macon. And that's always makes the mayor's day when you got people in town. You see these new tags coming into town and people are spending money. It helps our local small businesses as well. So that's something I'm always excited about. Those are beach lifeguards. There's no plans for that water park that used to be there. Not for this year, for sure. There's plans there in the future for other things like that, but right now those are beach lifeguards. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Mayor, and thank you at home for joining us. Remember, you can always be part of Ask Mayor Miller. Send your questions to mercerccj@gmail.com, and we'll get you some answers next time. Thanks for joining us.